Welcome back to the Real World Garage. We're back on the 64 Mercury Comet. We're here today to show you more inappropriate ways to use pour patch and pour 15. Alright, so the first thing we're going to look at here is these holes right here. You can see that there's some rust holes, and I have already applied, you can see right there through those holes, a piece of this tape right here. It's off of this roll. This is 3M aluminum tape, and you can see the number right there. Makes a good backer tape. It's good and strong. You gotta be real careful with it. If you dent the edges, it won't roll off and spool off like it's supposed to, so you don't want to drop it and don't want to beat it around. But anyway, the holes right there, to cut that out and to weld in some more metal, it's just not worth the hassle. I've kind of rubbed at it with a wire brush a little bit and got some of the big chunks knocked off. I'm going to take a minute here and I'm going to wipe it down with, if I can find some lacquer thinner, I'll wipe it down with some lacquer thinner. If I can't, I'll use a little brake clean, and then we're going to put some pour patch over that. And yeah, just hang on. Well, I did find my lacquer thinner right there. Got some on the rag, and we're gonna wipe this off a little bit, catch some of the dust and stuff, so it does have a better chance of sticking. Help to aim the camera at what you're actually working on. I have a lot of people have told me that this stuff won't work, but as long as you get the dust off, I hadn't found much that it won't stick to. So let me get my gloves on, and then we'll get in here and smear some of this stuff out. Well, I got the lid off, had to get some some channel locks. It was semi-glued on where I wasn't careful the last time I put the lid on. I'll make sure to clean it good this time. I'll put it back on today, because this stuff will cure in the tube if you're not careful. All right, so we're going to squeeze a little bit out, kind of like toothpaste. Just lay it there, bring you over, let you watch it work. All right, and just stick it on there. And smear it thin to win. Now, we'll just let that cure. That'll be cured tomorrow. It'll probably start curing sometime today. If it was like temperatures like we had back in the summer, it would be cured rather quickly. So I'm probably going to add another layer of that off camera just to make it a little thicker right over the rust holes. But that's pretty much it, and I'll bring you back in here once we have it cured. Alright, so there it is. I added another small thin layer to it, and you kind of let it sit there for a few minutes, and it can pretty much starts to try to kind of level out a little bit. I'm going to try to use this stuff on a vertical surface, and I'm not sure how that's going to work out. I've always used it on flat laying surfaces, but eventually we're going to try it on a vertical surface and see how it works out. Up inside and toward the front, you can see right there, you see my little finger coming through the hole right there? There's a hole right there, because your tire is right there, throws debris and dirt and garbage back up in there, and then it gets wet, and then it sits, and then it rots. And in the same area back here, they have a lot of caulk and stuff, and well, right around that joint right there, and it kind of holds moisture because the caulk cracks over time, and well, it lets moisture in, so it just sits there and rusts and rots. I think I know how I'm going to fix that right there. These glasses up. Whew. That right there, I'm going to take a piece of that aluminum foil. We're going to get it in place as a backer, and I'm going to cut out a small piece of fiberglass, and we're going to use the traditional Pour 15 liquid to wet the fiberglass and get it locked in that particular spot, and hopefully cured up and solid. That way we can come back over the top of it with our little finger and the pour patch. So I had somebody the other day comment on one of my videos that maybe they should have thought of a different name for their product instead of a pour patch. I thought it was pretty funny. It was pretty clever, whoever said that. But yeah, you're right. They should have come up with a better name, because this stuff is not a pour patch. Stuff's like concrete. All right, well, I guess I should have videoed that, actually putting that up in there, but I basically take the piece of foil and sticky side up, and I stick my hand in there and I work it into where the hole was. That way I can come back with the liquid Pour 15 and carefully lay it in there and put a piece of fiberglass in there and saturate it all with Pour 15 and then let it cure. It's going to take it until tomorrow to cure. I already know that. And I'll bring you back here in just a second, and we'll go through the second step of this, which is getting the fiberglass ready and dosing it up with some Pour 15. So if you're going to be messing with Pour 15, the liquid, and you need brushes to put it on with, then go to Harbor Freight and get you a pack of 36 brushes, part number 58080, and it's 58080, and it is a pack of 36 disposable brushes, and they are $12.99 for a box of these brushes. At least at my Harbor Freight they are. So you can clean them, use them a couple of times, but when you're messing with Pour 15, you don't want to use your best cut in and trim brush from painting your house. They are want them to be disposable. So I've got a fresh brush. I have my little square of fiberglass cut out, and again it's going right up in there, and get it in position. And seeing as how that foil tape's sticky, it kind of helps hold it in place. Sorry for the earthquake cam, but in these tight spaces, it's rather difficult to film and work at the same time. So here's the basic premise. I'm going to wet the brush down with Pour 15. I'm going to saturate that piece of fiberglass. I'll bring you back and show you what it looks like when I'm done. All right, well, there we go. I tried to put a little light on the subject. I don't know if you can see, but there it is, nice and Pour 15'd in. I went ahead and did that sillily, if that's even a word. I should not have done out here on this edge, because I'm going to have to weld that piece back in. But that's okay. I can grind it off. But you can see up in there, piece of fiberglass and that Pour 15. And now we're going to allow it to cure, and we may have to come back over it with either maybe another piece of fiberglass and a little more Pour 15, or maybe just some more Pour 15. I haven't decided yet. But that will seal that hole up. So let's talk about this stuff for just a minute. All right, so yes, I said this would be a video on inappropriately using Pour 15 and Pour Patch. And officially, this is probably not an approved way to use this product. But I want you to think about something for a minute. I don't know if you've ever dealt with these old Fords or old Mercurys, or any old car for that matter. Right there in that corner was where 2 or 3 pieces of sheet metal actually came together. They did not fit well back then, and there were a lot of holes and gaps and stuff from where they had stamped the steel out for stuff to fit together, and they just put them together and spot welded them. Well, if there was a gap or a hole, do you know what they shoved in it back in the day? They didn't go back in and cut it out and figure out how to fill it in with a piece of metal. No, they took seam sealer and they gobbed it over the hole until they got it to where it was sealed up and keep, you know, 95% of the water outside of these cars. So is what I'm doing wrong? Yeah, probably. But is it too far removed from what they did back in the day? If you had a gap or hole or whatever? Not very far, because that's how they built these cars back in the day. Sure, that's a little bit of a rust hole that I took and filled in a gap, so to speak. So what? It's under a fender. You'll never be able to see it, and chances are it's not going to leak anymore either. And using this product that I'm using here, it's waterproof. Matter of fact, it's solvent proof. The only thing that gets this stuff off is mechanical grinding. So it is what it is. It's fixed in my mind. All right, one of the things I want to show you is what I put my Pour 15 in to spread it out. I use old peanut butter jar lids, and when I get done, I take the Pour 15, the brushes that had Pour 15 on them. I'll set this out in a minute, and I'll work them in that lacquer thinner, and then I take and I brush them on somewhere on the car that needs or has had Pour 15 applied or could use a little Pour 15 applied. And it's sure, it's thinned down Pour 15, but if you do that over a period of time, it leaves a thin coat of Pour 15, and every time you go back and add a little more, eventually you're putting Pour 15 on the car. It's better than wasting it. All right, so we're going to let this Pour 15 cure, and we'll bring you back and show you what it looks like after it's cured. Well, hello, welcome back. It's been a few days. It's Sunday afternoon, enjoying a little afternoon coffee, and I thought I'd do a finish up on this video and show you how everything turned out now that the Pour 15 is cured. So let's get you in close and let's talk about it. All right, let's see if we can get the right camera angle to get you up in there. This is now cured. That is aluminum foil underneath that fiberglass that we put in, and I'm mashing on it, I'm pushing on it. You can flex it just a little bit. See if we can get a look up inside there. There you go. You can if I can get it to focus on what I wanted to focus on. There we go. All right, we got her to focus, but you can see that that's aluminum foil backing that hole. Also show you a couple of places that are also going to be covered. So there was a rust hole here, and there was a rust hole here, and I just went ahead and cleaned at them. I'm picking at that with my fingernail. I'm trying to get that off. I could probably take a screwdriver and could maybe gouge that stuff off of there, but that pour patch, once it's locked in and cured, it ain't coming off. And of course, this was the first of the video. This is the first place I did and covered. And maybe we can look up and see. You can see the foil up there on the top. Now, what I'm going to probably do off camera is I'm going to go in and I'm going to take the pour patch like I did across the top and these places back here. I'm going to put a thin coat on top of that fiberglass, and that will give it even more structure so that it will hold in there good and tight. I was contemplating taking this aluminum tape out. I'm thinking I'm just going to leave the aluminum tape in there. Aluminum tape's not going to hurt anything. You're not going to ever see it. It's not going to be in the way or be a problem for anything. So I'm just going to leave it in there. What's it going to hurt, right? I've also got to come in here and weld this piece back on top, and I'm going to cut this rusty metal off of the bottom edge of it, paint it, treat it, and as long as it is below the lip of the riser for the fresh air vent so that water can't get in, we're going to call that good. And once this I have this welded, once I have this piece welded back in place, one of the other things I'm thinking I'm going to do is I will probably take and either run a thin coat of the pour patch across the top of it to seal it, because the other thing that this pour patch says it is says it is a seam sealer. I will either use the pour patch or I will use some actual seam sealer I have in there in the shop. So while I'm finishing this repair up, why don't you go watch another video coming on the screen right now.